We spoke about this, the method of controlling women, and that's been there for centuries now, right? One of the hadiths I think that we grew up learning was that an angel curses a woman if she does not, sleep.
She doesn't smell the fragrance of Jannah for 500 years.
Yeah. How do you understand that?
Some Hanafi scholars do not necessarily always accept that hadith because they will look at, does a hadith, does it agree with the Quran? That hadith appears to contradict the Quran. That's why they do not accept it. Many other scholars, they do accept the hadith,
right.
But then they say, what does the hadith mean? What is the interpretation? Some scholars will say, oh, it's for a woman that weaponizes sex. So it's not if a woman, if she has a valid reason, like Imam An-Nawawi and Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, they mention if a woman has a legitimate, valid reason for refusing intimacy, she won't be cursed. So again, it's just understanding the nuances and you also have a number of hadiths, like I think that you referred to, about smelling the fragrance of paradise. A number of those hadiths, many scholars dispute their authenticity because you have a number of hadiths that come from what is known as the Israeliyat, from the Jewish and Christian tradition. And that's why you find some scholars are more skeptical of some of the hadiths about women and other scholars accept them. So it depends on the scholar that you follow in terms of their interpretation.
Subscribe to Mindscape Podcast now.
Well, I do notice that many Muslim preachers, they love to cite the hadith because, again, to control women. Like the hadith, when the divorce takes place, the throne of Allah shakes. The hadith is not authentic, but it's still often taught and often said in masajid.
Yeah.
Or the hadith that the most hated of halal things in the sight of Allah is divorce. That hadith is not actually authentic. It's weak, but some scholars, because they believe the meaning is sound, they will still narrate it. So again, it just depends on, and for me, like the hadiths of the angels cursing the wife and things like that, whether it's authentic or not, if you notice from a lot of the eritologists, they don't cite that hadith. Because if you're teaching men, if you're encouraging men to be better lovers, to be better husbands, why would you want to instill fear on the woman? And especially because some of the scholars, there are some hadiths that they're not sure the actual meaning. So even if the Prophet, peace be upon him, said it, okay, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said it, but what is the context? And because some of those hadiths there are a lot of misunderstandings, so some scholars that will refrain from citing hadith. Well, I do notice that many Muslim preachers, they love to cite the hadith because, again, to control women.